All right, round two, you ready? Tell me about your journey with Denim and just more broadly, designing clothes, and what inspired you to, take that leap and create your own brand.
I've always wanted to make clothes literally my entire life. It started out with like Nike and Under Armour and Jordans, and I played basketball growing up, so I was very inspired by the Nike Elite Sock movement, and like EYBL KD4s, and a bunch of like retro Jordans were a big deal at that time,
Yeah.
and was really into like sneakers, and that kind of got me into streetwear, like Supreme and some of Virgil's earlier stuff. So it was really the sport of basketball that I was able to pick up on. Like, I don't know, you can kind of like tell who the best basketball players are by what they're wearing, and there
Yeah.
was some sort of like you can tell who like cool people are by what they're wearing.
Sure.
I was able to kind of like pick up on that a little bit, and always wanted to like be in that world, and never really had a huge like love for my own personal style. Like I've always felt, especially when I was wearing like streetwear and Jordans, it never really felt like me, but I always felt like I could give something to that.
Yeah.
And so I have literally, since I was very young, wanted to like design or create or give people my own perspectives on things. And so yeah, like when I was young, I'd be like sketching Jordans. Or I've always been into coloring books when I was like a little kid, and drawing and writing like little stories. So I've always been creative, and I think I've always been entrepreneurial too. So I'm like literally half artist, half businessman to some degree. So I think it's always like starting my own thing always felt very natural.
Yeah.
And starting my own thing in the creative or the world of art to some degree, like I look at making clothes like being an artist, and it's been like very natural. That part of it has been very natural. There are some other things that I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome with when it comes to like wearing high fashion thing or being called like a fashion influencer, or the word fashion like kind of irks me a little bit, which I think is why I've kind of skewed more towards things that are very wearable. Like, like I run a jean and t-shirt brand for the most part.
Yeah.
So we do some, I do love high fashion as well. But like I'm a Midwest kid, and it's a little bit less about that and a little bit more about making things that are like extremely wearable and will still hold value over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where the concept comes from, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this earlier, your inspiration and I guess early childhood with your grandma, right? Like that's kind of what.
It was my great grandma.
Great grandma. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the name came from. And did you learn how to sew and work with clothes like at that age, or was it later in life?
It was later. I still like to think that like spiritually she might have passed down the skill set to me in some ways, but she was definitely the first lineage of sewing in my family, and first lineage of like branding her own creations, which I feel like a huge affinity for. Like I think that's so cool.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't until like later in college where I actually started sewing for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just like I was just sketching and trying to do the like fit pick thing when I was younger.
Yep.
Because I didn't really know what else to do. Like, it's not like there's a fabric store down the street or like a manufacturing facility that you can just walk into and get things made. So that was also my like real deep like kind of lust for this shit, was like figuring out how clothes got made, because no one around here knows, and there's nothing around here where that's happening.
Yeah.
So I was like really, really adamant about like figuring that out myself somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And then once I realized through failure, that's like, okay, the best way to figure out how to speak the language is to learn how to make the clothes yourself.
Yeah.
And it was around in college where I started sewing.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is a perfect transition here. Tell me about the design process from a creative standpoint and also just a technical aspect of actually putting a pair of jeans together, like kind of start to finish. Walk me through that.
It's a great question. I'd say they're almost like two completely different things.
Okay.
Like I've experienced a little bit of both where you can be so creative and so like, you can give so much of yourself to a specific thing that you're making that the technical aspects of it almost don't really matter. Like even though your sewing might be bad or things might not be finished correctly or you're doing it all on one machine, so there's certain things you can't even do, people will still feel that kind of like love that you put into it and that creativity that you put into it. And so that's kind of where I started, was like, even when my shit sucked, like from a technical and from like a craftsman standpoint, people still, I was still able to like sell it and make some money, and people still kind of liked it. Yeah. Because I didn't really know any better at that time. Like I had never gone to school for it, or no one was telling me like, hey, that's not right. Like I was just kind of like doing it. And I think that, and that was like 10 years ago. So I was pretty young too, and just had this like fire in me. Yeah. So like, that's one, and there are people still today who like, I see them making stuff and I'm like, you've got some, like you'll figure this part out later, like keep doing what you're doing, Yeah. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect, when it comes to like manufacturing 100 units of something, you don't want all 100 to be wrong. No. So you got to be really, really specific about the details. And it's like engineering or architecture to some degree. Like you have to speak the language and you have to communicate every single little tiny detail. And luckily, like, I don't know, a lot of people who manufacture clothes don't actually sew. They just, create tech packs or create documents that communicate what they want. Sure. Well, over time, I've been able to like really hone in every single stitch of what I want something to look like. So when I go to a manufacturing facility, I can give them something I made and tell them to replicate that. And I think that's kind of where I'm like a little bit luckier than a lot of people. Yeah. Because it's not like, hey, here's a reference, but I want it to be like this. But then I also want it to be like this and this. I can just be like, make this. Yeah. And with denim specifically, there's so many different techniques and there's so many different machines that go into making one pair of jeans that make it like you do want to be technically on point. Yeah. With a pair of jeans, it's not like this is something that someone's gonna wear once or twice a year for a fashion event. It's like these are things that you expect someone to wear almost every day. Yep. So the construction quality of it and the machines used to produce that take that into consideration, and they're used to make an extremely durable product. Yeah. And so those are you don't want your jeans have to hold up with jeans specifically. Absolutely. It's like that product has to last and hold up and be able to handle every type of lifestyle. Yeah. So there's both ends of the spectrum. I kind of play in both a little bit, but it like this side that I was talking about is almost more important, and then you like figure this out kind of as you go.
That's super fascinating. So for most types of production these days, do they submit a digital, kind of document or outline of what to produce, and you're kind of going more,
there's not necessarily like an exact way to do it, I don't think. Yeah. I know that like when I was kind of being lectured on how to make or how to do like large scale production, it was like, you need a tech pack. Now it's kind of like, give us a reference garment. Clothing manufacturing is getting much more accessible to people, especially with social media and online. Like you can factories DM me all the time. Yeah. And they're like, hey, we can do this. And it's like, you probably can't, but still it's like, it's a lot easier to get like a first sample now than it ever was. I don't even think you necessarily need like a tech pack. Like that kind of used to be the thing. You can almost just like send a reference garment and make a list of notes that you want different to it. And again, it's like, they're probably not gonna be correct or not gonna be 100% correct. Yeah. I feel fortunate that you also like, there's shitty factories and then there's decent factories. And it's like I feel very fortunate to be working with a really, really good factory. So that kind of stuff, you just got to go through the weeds of making clothes to eventually get there. But like I always expect there to be some sort of mishap that goes on in the process, because I know how hard it is to just make clothes.
Yeah.
And especially if it's like people you don't know or people that you don't actively communicate with, or if they're overseas or whatnot. It's like there's going to be some issues. Very rarely do you just like sample something and it's perfect. But again, I'm a little bit closer to that end, because it's like I've already made my thing.
Right.
I've already sampled it for you. You just have to, can you replicate this?
Yeah.
And if you can't, then I'm probably not going to work with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, so my mind's going to the actual sourcing raw materials. So tell me about, how you find that sourcing for the perfect fabric, and then how did you find the perfect partner for manufacturing? Because I feel like that would be like a really difficult piece of the process.
It is. It's all gate kept for a reason. We can talk about the fabric end later, but you just got to know people that know people. That's like really the answer. I've been working with a store here in Kansas City under a guy named Cameron, who's extremely connected in this world. And, I don't really feel bad about it or feel like, it's like I worked for this guy I still work for him. And I've built a reputation with this man for a really long time, and he trusts me, and I do really good work for him. And it's like eventually when the time came, over years of sampling my own stuff, he put me in touch with the right people. And it was like, earlier when I kind of first started Bonicel, like I definitely was not ready for that, And it was like, it's just like kind of in due time.
Yeah.
And throughout that process, I've worked with factories as well that were like terrible situations. So you kind of just have to go through that a little bit. Anybody who is manufacturing clothes with a factory, I have a ton of respect for you, because it's extremely daunting, and like you have no idea what you're getting yourself into until you get that product back. And even then, most of the time it's like, what even is this? You know? So it's like, you just got to go through the steps. No one, literally not a single person is going to be like, here's my factory connect, go use them. Yep. Because like, there's literally, it's a language that you have to speak. Yeah. And it's like, I speak it because I've been doing this for 10 years. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's not like these places just have like, we make clothes on the outside of their building. It's like, doors are locked. There's no reception desk. You don't walk in and like, hey, I'd like to speak to someone. It's like, gates, you're not getting in there unless someone that knows these people is letting you in. Absolutely. And it's been like 10 years of me building up to that, I think.
I love it.
You eventually get there. Yeah. For sure.
Through enough trial and error and learning. Yeah. All right, this is one of my favorite questions for you. What is the most proud detail of your new jean line that you're coming out with?
There's a couple. Yeah. What I've been trying to do is create the best American-made jean. There are jeans being manufactured in Japan that are just it just isn't gonna get any better, you know? And some brands that we carry at Gavel, like Orslo and Samurai and Ironheart and Studio the Artisan and Momotaro, like I've been able to actually like look at these jeans firsthand and really study them and see some of the details that they've been implementing into their products. And there are a couple consistent details. Yeah. And I was really like focused on making sure my jeans had some of those. Yep. A lot of these details that they're using are just being referenced from old vintage Levi's. Okay. So like the pinnacle jean is like, an early 1900 to 1950s, 60s, 70s Levi's jean. Like that's what everyone in Japan is kind of different models, different eras, different years, different fits, all that kind of stuff. So it starts there, and then it goes to these incredibly made Japanese denim brands who are like doing similar things just with like more experimental textiles or different fabric. It's a lot of that, like switching up the fabric, switching up the fit, but still staying true to some of those details.
Yeah.
A couple of them that I've been able to implement into my jeans would be like hidden back pocket rivets.
Okay.
So the back pockets are riveted, but the pocket is then folded over the rivet. So you don't have rivets like sticking out on the back pockets, like scraping up your leather seats or your couch or whatever.
Yep.
They're tucked under the fabric, but you can see them from the inside of the jeans. So like the rivet is there holding that pocket in place. It's never gonna go anywhere, but you don't have them like sticking out.
Right.
So hidden back pocket rivets. One of my other favorite details is on like the coin pocket of the jean right here. It's cut at an angle so you can see the selvage line of the fabric just like peeking out right outside of it.
Yeah.
They call it like peekaboo selvage coin pocket.
Okay.
That's something that I see almost every Japanese brand doing. And so I've been able, that's another like couple of these fine details that I really wanted to implement. There's a specific machine called a chain stitch hemming machine that finishes the bottom hem of the jean with this like roping stitch.
Okay.
Your jeans, I'm almost positive, have that same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like those little things like that put you kind of in this higher category. So I don't know if there's one that I particularly like more than the other. Doing the hidden back pocket rivets by hand myself is like really fun and rewarding. It takes like just sewing a pocket, which is like 1 or 2 steps, and makes it like 12 steps.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're doing it it's another thing. Like when I go to a production factory, I'm like, hey, I want these hidden back pocket rivets.
Yeah.
I know they're not excited about that.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, well now you just took sewing a back pocket and made it an extremely long process.
Yeah, yeah.
But these are the things that, you know, you pay for, and that, again, like put your product in a comparable realm with the stuff happening in Japan. And like I said, like I want to make the best American-made jean.
Absolutely.
And it's inspired by this stuff over here, which is inspired by vintage Levi's.
I love it. And so vintage Levi's, like when I think of jeans, I think of America, you know, an American product.
Yeah.
At what point did the Japanese culture, I guess what it sounds like, superseded where American jeans started? Like, correct me if that's wrong, but like what makes their products so unique and special? Is it the technique, the design, the fabrics, compared to American jeans?
There's a huge history lesson on this, and I'll try to do my best. But there's a book called Amatora by a guy named David Marks, who the whole book is essentially about like Japanese culture being inspired by American clothing, kind of denim and clothing culture back in like pre-World War II era.
Yeah.
And then it completely shifting kind of in like the late 90s-ish.
Okay.
People in Japan used to have to wear uniforms, you know? So there was like no culture or creativity to what they wore at all, like pre-World War II.
Yeah.
So a lot of the clothing that they'd get shipped over would just be like surplus workwear and denim, military clothing from the 40s, which is like now what we all want in vintage. But that was kind of like what they got, was like hand-me-down leftover jeans.
Yeah.
And a lot of it would be this super washed out, faded, light blue Levi product, because that's what was being manufactured in the US. And rightfully so, like I think they really loved that product. And that product kind of became like almost a staple. Kids in like even like post-war Japan, like 1950s-ish, would be like, if you were wearing jeans, you'd be looked at as like a degenerate. So there was a little bit of that kind of like counter culture, like, oh yeah, we're gonna like lash out against the system type of thing by wearing these products. And eventually somebody in Japan, again, it goes really in detail in the book, but was like, okay, I'm gonna make my version of that. And had huge struggles with it. Like one of the main things I remember is like he bought all of this denim fabric from Cone Mills in the US, got it imported into Japan, bought all of these sewing machines, and then when he like went to sew them, the machines couldn't even sew the fabric because it was too thick for the machines to handle. Yeah. So there was like a huge, you know, massive like learning curve for them to figure that out. But there's always been this infatuation with that product in specific. And eventually, like, the people over there are just so much more attentive, especially to like the details of clothing. I think clothing just means a lot more to them because again, like if we've never been in a situation where we didn't have free reign of what we wore.
Right.
I think if that was kind of baked into our culture at an earlier time, we might take it a little bit more seriously or be a little bit more intentional about it.
Yeah.
And they just are like they are super particular about it. And so I think over time, people figured out how to make them, and people ended up putting kind of their own twists on it. And like a lot of the best vintage American-made clothing is over there, so they have like almost better references than we do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah, they've been referencing some of the best jeans in the world to create their own products. And then at some point in time, I don't really know all the logistics of it, but a lot of the like looms that you use to make selvage denim made their way over to Japan. Again, I don't really know all the logistics of that, but like they're what's happening in Japan today is like really experimental denim fabrics are being woven over there.
Yeah.
Whereas like we used to have Cone Mills here in the United States, which did all the Levi's stuff and did all of the like traditional red line selvage denim. They closed in 2017. And there's really hasn't been a successful alternative to U.S. woven fabrics yet. So like, you can still find some dead stock stuff, but like almost all of the fun and creative fabric is coming from Japan today.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, terrible history lesson on
no.
But
I mean, that was
the book is like super. The book is amazing.
I'm gonna check out that book.
Yeah,
because like just what you've kind of given me a preview of, it sounds like there's so much history and like cultural movement behind the growth of denim and like where it's at today.
Yeah, it wasn't like an accident.
Right.
You know? Yeah, it was much more of like a cultural shift that happened back then.
So Easton, what is a misconception that people get wrong about denim?
The shit doesn't have to be tight. It doesn't have to be skin tight. And I know like now that it's 2025, we see people wearing a lot looser fits, but like really like selvage denim and raw denim, when it kind of got popular back in like 2010-ish, it was all like, that was the idea was like super tight fits, super gnarly, crazy fades. And like, you don't have to take it that seriously. You don't have to freeze your jeans. Like
I didn't know.
I didn't
know that was a thing.
It's a thing. It does kill the bacteria, but it's like, just wash it, just rinse them, you know? I don't know. Other misconceptions, like,
I mean, the fit is a good one.
We've actually now gotten to the end of the spectrum where like things are too wide, you know, and we're kind of coming back to the middle a little bit. I think one of the it's not really a misconception, but one of the wildest things that I've realized is like the best jean has already been made. It's like vintage Levi's. And that's what everyone is like essentially putting their own spin on. So we're all like not chasing, but like kind of recreating the perfect jean that already existed, you know? So that's kind of a funny thing about it, is it's like there's nothing you can really do that hasn't already been done. All you can do is just kind of like put your own emphasis on it. Love doing it, I think, is a huge part of it, and like over time build a brand. It's like
I love
it. You know, there's all kinds of weird shit going on too, with like people painting you know, like there's ways that people are trying to express themselves differently through this product that's as old as blue collar American culture, early 90s. But like the best has already been done. So you know.
No, I love it, dude. Where do you see Bonicel going in 2 years from now? Just looking forward. Where do you see your brand?
I love that. I love that you said 2 years and not like 5 or 10, because I can't even hardly think that.
No, neither can I.
But 2 years, I officially like really am happy with this manufacturing partner that I've got. So it's like now I've got I've got options now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, I don't have to make everything by hand. The sweet spot for me would be to have like a core line of pieces, like my core jean, a couple other products that fit into that category that are being manufactured by them. And then doing more of the experimental and creative and custom stuff myself.
Yeah.
So like, as you guys see, I actually do sewing is a huge part of this, and that's how I built this whole thing. Is I made every pair of jeans myself.
Yeah.
Over the course of 3 or 4 years, and it's like, okay, I finally got to a point where it was like, I would be doing better if I just had more of these.
Yeah.
And I usually make everything in my waist size because it's like, worst case, I can just wear it.
Sure.
So if you're like a 30 or a 36, you probably don't have a pair of jeans from me.
Yep.
And I do. That's not entirely true because I do custom stuff too. But it's really hard. It's like, hey, buy these today. I'll give them to you in 3 months.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, now it's like I will do the custom thing, and I love my real energy comes from just like freestyling on a piece. Like, I'm really good at that, and so I can't really do that when I'm just making the same thing over and over and over. So the idea is to like build this core collection.
Yep.
Start partnering with other stores like the one I work at and get my products into some other markets. So right now, the only place to buy my stuff is either online or in Kansas City.
Okay.
I do have a store in Detroit that's got a couple things for me. And I do have a couple other stores that have already pre-booked some product for spring. But it's like get into 5, 6, 7, 8 different stores around the United States. Eventually get into some stores in Japan.
Yeah.
And then continue doing my own archive program or made to order program where I'm just kind of having fun and making things that I like and also doing custom stuff for people too.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I feel like having that creative freedom is such a superpower because that's what allows you to kind of progress to that.
And that's
next
like
level.
where I'm really in my bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What advice would you have for someone who wants to pursue a creative passion, brand, or business?
You just got to do it. You got to really do it.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean like you got to encompass all of it. That's something that even I've really struggled with in the past. I don't know, when you're like sewing in your bedroom, you don't really feel it sometimes.
Yeah.
When you move into a beautiful studio like this, it's a little bit easier, but no matter what, you just got to really embody that, like, I am a designer, I am growing a brand, I really do this shit. That's kind of like the aura you have to have.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to clothing specifically, you really need to like sew. I think that's where you learn how to speak the language, is by learning how to sew. There's so many different ways that something can be created, and different machines and it's like when you speak that language, it's a lot easier to get your product created in an efficient way.
Yeah.
When you don't, you're just kind of like flipping a coin. And manufacturing, don't trust factories. Like most of the time, luckily, again, there are some exceptions, but most of the time a factory is just going to do what's easiest for them because they've got other clients. If you're making 20 or 30 or 40 units of something, they're not making any money off of you anyway. It's one thing if you're making 1,000 units or 500 units of something, they'll take you a little bit more seriously, but the factory most of the time is just going to do what's easiest for them. So unless you really like hold their feet to the fire and over communicate every little detail, they're usually going to cut a lot of corners. And if you don't want that to happen, then you got to make the product yourself, which is kind of what I did. So I think there's that like classic Rick Owens video where he's just like, you got to learn to sew, like pick up the machine and sew and do it again and again. And it's like, that really is the best advice.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. And like t-shirts sell really well. Everybody loves t-shirts too. I know that we're in the era of just like when you can't figure anything else out, you just make graphic t-shirts. But that is like, everybody loves that still.
Yeah.
Like that still is a great way to just like do something to get started. A hat or a t-shirt or a hoodie is a really good way to just like get the ball rolling, and eventually you can progress into other stuff. And then now with social media, I don't have any good advice on that because I'm still searching for it myself. But it's like there's a lot of ways to like get your face out there and get your stuff into prevalent people's hands.
Yeah.
And it really kind of comes back to, I think, just like embodying this is who I am and this is what I do. And yeah, like anything else, it takes a ton of practice and repetition to kind of get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to do it.
I mean, I think that's the most consistent advice that I've heard across the board is starting. You know, if you don't start, you're not going to have that failure process. You know, that you talked about, where it's like that first pair you maybe didn't like the best, but you learned something along
I think
the way.
I've been able to take an analogy that I grew up with and apply it. So like I played basketball at a pretty high level, and if you're not working out on a daily basis, when you do go play in that game, there's that little voice in the back of your head that's like, man, I'm not quite as prepared as I could be, or I'm not quite as confident as I should be. Whereas it's the exact opposite when you know that you've been like, I've been in the gym every day. Like I've been making 100 threes a day. I've been making like when I get to the free throw line, I know I'm going to make this. And it is like, with basketball experienced both sides of that. And with clothing, I've experienced both sides of that. And it's just like with this most recent jean run, it's like, for the first time, I've been like 100% confident in it because I've made 200 pairs of jeans in the last couple years. So it's like, I know exactly what they should look like. I know exactly how to communicate what I want, down to the thread color, down to all the trims and details, down to every single finish on the jean and what every machine should be doing. And,
you put in those reps.
You just got to it's like, that's kind of the analogy that I use is like, you just got to put in the reps. Yeah.
Last question for you, Easton, here. Your launch is tomorrow. What's going through your head? How are you feeling? Just describe, I guess, your feelings before the launch.
I'm feeling really good about it. I'm very excited. I'm very confident about everything, which is good because, like, again, I've kind of battled that in the past a little bit, but it's been a long time coming. I've always known that I was going to make 100 pairs of jeans and do like a little launch party for it and release them online. Like I always knew I was going to do that. And so it's like finally here. The only thing that's been stressful has just been planning this event. Like I'm not an event planner by any means.
No.
I don't know how people do that. But yeah, it's like I've been putting on everything for the event, doing all the event insurance and permits and all that kind of stuff, finding the event space and making sure the lighting works and cleaning the floors. Me and my girlfriend swept the floors of this warehouse for so long yesterday morning. So the little stuff like that has been a little stressful. And, you know, there's a bunch of other people involved in this event. So just making sure they're all on board with everything and happy with how it looks and with what their role within it kind of looks like. But as far as just like the product I'm releasing and the brand I'm building, I feel really good about everything. Probably the most confident I've ever felt. And in a weird way, it feels like I'm kind of like just now getting started. Yeah.
That's an incredible feeling, I'm sure. I mean, I can't wait to be at that launch event tomorrow and see it all kind of.
It's going to be sick. If you're in, I mean, I'm sure people probably won't see this by tomorrow at 5 p.m., but hopefully you guys make it out. You know,
but my hope is like people can look back on this 2, 3, 5 years later and be like, wow, this is where it all started.
Launch party is tomorrow. So.
Well, I'll be there. Congratulations, dude. I mean,
this
is a huge milestone.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming in here and doing this. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, cheers. Good luck.
All right, brother.
Dude, that was awesome.
I think so.